Okay, so today's some information about special right triangles. Special right triangles are a little confusing, okay? So I know this. So please go ahead and take these notes, write them down so you can reference them. You will definitely need to reference this. I doubt you're going to have it memorized, okay? If you're at school, I would probably still give you these notes to take the test with and the quizzes, okay? We are going to give you the easier version, which is not really easy. The only thing we're doing is we are going to leave off I do have one example of it, but we are going to leave that off for the most part. You will see an example of it, but I'm just going to show you how to do it and not really the math behind it, okay? So let's get started before I scare you. So I've got a couple of things to help remember some things. All right, so what we're doing, these are called special right triangles. So if you have a right triangle that has a 45, and a 90-degree angle, they have a pattern in their side lengths. Okay, so what's good about it, first off, hopefully you know, if you have two angles that are the same, that means these side lengths would be the same. This is an isosceles triangle. So whatever this is going to be, this will also be the same thing. That's why it's represented by the same letter. Given that, if you'll notice, I have them all three in brown, okay? This side length is equal to this side length. This x, or whatever this number is, will also be put right here. So it's actually going to be, if let's say, for example, if this was 2, this would be 2, 2, 2 square root of 2. So these three x's are the same number, and it's a pattern. Okay, so I can show you how to do this when we get back to school and all that good stuff. But right now, I really would just like you to understand that if you have an isosceles triangle, if these two side lengths are the same, then this one will be what we call the square root of 2 longer than it. All right. So one more time, if this is going to be 10, this will be 10, this would be 10 square root of 2. You actually have a question on the ACT that I just went over that looks just like this one. All right. These are what we call time savers for the ACT. So definitely need to know that if you wanted to get that good grade on that ACT. All right. This is a 45, 45, 90. We will do an example of that one. But let me throw in the 30, 60, 90. Now, notice I highlighted the 45s because there's two 45s and it has a square root of 2 in the problem. Okay, this is just my way to help you remember which one has which square root in it. So now when I come over here, I have the 30, 60, 90. That just means you have a 30-degree angle, a 60-degree angle, and a right angle. And again, these are special right triangles, so all of them have to have right angles. All right, you're going to think about it as I need the square root of 3, and there's a 3 in the 30, 60, 90. When you see the 44, 45, 45, 90, you should think square root of 2 because you have two 45s. Now, that's not the reason. That's just something to me help you remember which one has the square root of 2 and which one has the square root of 3. All right, and mostly I need you to remember this for the ACT. You're getting ready to take it, okay? So all sophomores have to take the ACT this year. So please, please, this is one of those time savers if you know it. All right, so if you see a 30, 60, 90 triangle, this is the pattern of its side length. So I am going to tell you this is what we call the base. This is going to be the side that you go back to. You're never going to jump from the hypotenuse to this side over here, which is opposite the 60. Okay, so let me kind of go back over both of these. The side opposite the 45 is considered this side. The side opposite the 45 is considered this side, and the hypotenuse, or the side opposite the 90, is this side. Because you have two 45s, it's a little easier because these two will be the same. Whereas when you come over here, the side opposite the 60, and I have it labeled in green and in green the pattern, the side opposite the 60, the side opposite the 30 is x, the side opposite the 90 is 2x. Now, this x is the same in all three spots. You literally are going to write or substitute whatever value is here into this x and whatever value is here into this x. Now, sometimes I'll give you this one, sometimes I'll give you this one, sometimes I'll give you this one. Whichever one I give you, you're going to set it equal to that and then solve it, and then you're going to get back to this one. So what I would like you to do, if you have highlighters or pens or whatever, please just remember you will go from this one to this one or back vice versa. I'm never going to go, though, from here to here. All right, you're always going to go back to the one opposite the 30-degree angle. So that is going to be like the starting point. So if you're given this one, you have to go back to here to start to get this one. So if I ask you, I give you this one, I don't give you this one, I ask for this, you're still going to have to find this one. So one more time, and I know this is a little confusing. It's going to get a little easier, I promise, but kind of listen to the explanation. This is the pattern. So again, this is your base. This is the one you want. If you're given this one, it's pretty easy. You're just going to put the number here and the number there. You will multiply those and you'll have your answer. Okay, so what this says is the smallest side is x. The middle side, remember they go in order, smallest, middle, largest. So the smallest side is going to be the x. Whatever number you have here, you will then place it in front of a square root of 3 for here. So let's say it's 2. So this would be 2. This would be 2 square root of 3. The hypotenuse is always twice the length of the shortest side. So if this is 2, this is 4. If this is 6, this is 12. This is 8, this is 16. Okay, they're just going to be twice the length. That's what the 2x means. This one over here just means you're really just going to substitute the number here and stick it in front of it. So you're going to write it. So this is 2. This is 2 square root of 3. If this is 3, this would be 3 square root of 3. If this is 4, this will be 4 square root of 3. You're just going to place it there. Okay, so what's cool about this, or what you might like, is that there really isn't any math to do as long as you can times by 2. That would be the hardest thing you're going to do. All right, so let's go a couple examples before you think I'm getting too involved. It's not that bad, I promise. It's a pattern. If you can't see patterns, definitely need to do exactly what I'm saying. If you see the pattern, it might be a little faster for you, but if you don't, do what I say. All right, so looking at the pattern that we had above, what you're going to do is you're looking at the side they gave you. So they gave me the side opposite the 45. So you're going to go back to your notes and say, okay, I've got the side opposite the 45. And we'll make this bigger, I think, so you can see both of those the same time. All right, so hopefully you can see these now. All right, so again, notice these are variables, so they don't have it, but I've got the side opposite of the 45. They told me that equals x. So I'm going to go ahead and put that equals x. All right, so if I know already what x is equal to, because that's the answer. All right, so I know 8 is going to be, hold on, we can't do x because that would be wrong. Hold on. Okay, so I've decided we can't. The reason I want to use x, I don't want you to think this is x because it's not. I don't know what I was thinking. It's actually going to be y because these would be the same here. So I was trying to make it easier on you and setting everything equal to x and y, which we can do as long as you ignore these two right here. And then I forgot to tell you to ignore them. So let's go back and kind of go through this problem again. Ignore that. Let's ignore that. All right, so let's go back and just look at our pattern. If this is x, then I also know that this is x. So if this is 8, then I also know this is 8. So what I really recommend you doing is to solve the triangle first, meaning get your answers, put them in there, and then go back and place these in there correctly. All right, so now that I know these two are the same, I know that this side will be whatever this is, square root of 2. So it's going to be 8. So this will be 8 square root of 2. So then you'll type in here 8, not type. Well, you have a type, but I'm going to write 8 square root of 2. Okay, so let's go back through this one more time. If you have a 45, 45, 90, this side is 8, this side is 8, because opposite sides of the 45s will be the same. This one will be the square root of 2 longer than whatever these sides are. So that's what that looks like. You would tell me that x is 8 square root of 2 and that y would be equal to 8. Okay, so one more time, let's go back over what I did wrong. Is I let this and this be the same x when I shouldn't have. Okay, so this x here was this x. Okay, this x is in the problem. So I really should have used a and b or something different for those. So I'm going to go ahead and take example 2 and change a and b to help you out. So if they're not already a and b on your problems, you may want to change that. So we're going to go ahead and switch that to a and b. So x is going to be a and y is going to be b. So we are changing those to a and b. The reason I want to do that because it makes it easier, especially with these, if you can set them equal. All right, so I know that x equals 5. So that means this side length is going to be equal to this. Okay, so if the x in here is 5, again, this x is going to be the one in the formula. So if this x is 5, then I know that this is going to be equal to 2 times 5, which is 10. So a equals 10. Then I'm going to go down here, the b. So this x right here is the same as this x, which is 5 square roots of 3. Okay, so all you would do is you're actually, the reason I'm wanting you to rewrite them down here is just for the fact that on the problems you do, you give them the picture, then you have to write it down. So a would be equal to, and you put 10, b would be equal to 5 square roots of 3. And what I'm telling you to do is to go and actually put the numbers there first, then go back and try to figure out which one we actually asked for in the question. Okay, so I would recommend finding all 3 sides every time, even if they didn't ask for it. It'll be easier on you, I promise, than trying to just pick the one side to figure out. Okay, find all 3. I'm going to go ahead and do that again for my next example, so don't write it down right away. I'm going to go ahead and change those to A's and B's. So we'll make it XA, we'll make YB. This will be A, YB. Again, the reason I'm doing this is I would like to make the X that I use the X that's in your formula or your pattern, okay? So first thing you do is, again, I'm going to be looking, make sure I know what kind of triangle I have, okay? You have a 30 and you have a 90. Do I have to tell you that 60, or could you use the triangle sum theorem, which means that that plus that, so from 180, it gives you that, right? You could just go ahead and do that. Give me 1 second, I gotta plug my computer in. Okay, I want to say I'm going to try to go faster on these, but I'm not. Like I said, they're a little confusing, but it's not hard. You're doing no math. You're just matching a pattern and then writing it down. All right, so one more time, I'm going to show you the formula. Now, first thing you got to know, this one's the 30, 60, 90. As soon as you see 3 different angles, you know it's going to have the 3 different side lengths in the pattern. Okay, so I'm bringing it down so you can see. All right, so it's this pattern over here. So sometimes these will not be the right orientation. Okay, notice this one's sitting this way. They could be flipped around. So you want to look opposite the 30, and call that one your X. But you do not know that one, right? Opposite the 60, that one's going to be the X square root of 3. We don't know those. Well, what about up here? That one is equal to 2X. Do we know that one? Yes. Okay. So with the 30, 60, 90, the 45, 45, 90 is a little easier. Okay. Because you have the 2 same sides and then you just stick that number there in front of square root. The 30, 60, 90, I would recommend writing down these 3 things right here. Now you have to remember, if this was an X, that's going to throw you off, right? This X is representing this X in the pattern. This X is the same X in the pattern. So these 3 X's here are the same value. That doesn't mean they'll match these letters down here if they happen to be X or Y. I think most of yours are A or B, so they would actually work out well to do like we're doing. You can solve this one. What is 2X equals 12? If you solve this one-step equation, what's that going to tell you that X equals? Well, 6, because 2 times 6 is 12. So if X equals 6, that is what X is equal to, right? So X equals 6. Well, if X equals 6 here, that would be 6 square roots of 3. And you've just now solved that triangle. You know all the answers now. 12 is what they gave you, so you're good there. But I said it equal to 2X because that's my pattern. Then the A equals X. X equals 6. So I'm going to put 6 in here for A. The B is equal to the X square root of 3. And since X is 6, that is 6 square root of 3. All right, so it looks like I'm going to need to do more of those 30, 60, and 90s. But like I said, you are literally going to be setting these 3 objects here equal to those 3 sides. And whichever one they give you, you would solve for X then. Okay. Hopefully it'll be easy to do, but I'll show you a couple of them. All right, so number 2, this is a, what kind? See the 45, you know it's this one. So that, and then again, I'm not going to do anything I think special with those. I'm just going to tell you, if this side right here is 6, then we know the sides opposite the 45 will also be 6. So both of these are 6. So I know B is equal to 6. And then the A will be the square root of 2 longer. So you just take that and put the square root of 2 with it. So you do know this one will have the square root of 2. And that's it. All right, so we'll go about number 3. I forgot to write the 45, sorry. All right, so if that one's 45, 45, 90, that's this one. I already told you the hypotenuse one. I'm giving you the X square root of 2 one. So again, if I set that equal to x square root of 2, what does the x have to be? Well, 3. Does that make sense? Kind of look at it. So 3 square roots of 2 is equal to what square roots of 2? Well, hopefully you can tell me if 3 square roots of 2 is equal to 3 square roots of 2. So that means x would be 3, and remember these equal x. So that means a and b would both equal 3. So you're just taking the number in front of the square root and sticking it there. That's it. You've got it. That's the answer on that one. Now, you can get a little bit harder. So let's look at a couple of the harder ones. And that's when they don't give you certain sides, or they give you a square root in one of the sides and it confuses you. So I'm just going to kind of hopefully go through these. This one right here, this one I would recommend memorizing. You only have one problem this week like this. So just kind of watch what I do. I'm not going to show you the math to it. If you would like to see the math to it, how come it works, I will show you, but it goes into rationalizing denominators. And at this point, I'm not thinking it's a good idea to go through the big rationalizing denominator thing. But if we have school this week, I can do that in the meet, no problem. Okay. All right. So this side over here is the opposite of the 45. I'm sorry, opposite of the 90. I'm trying to grab my paper and talk. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that again, and hopefully you can see it is going to be this one right here. Okay. So I have these two sides the same. So I know whatever I find is going to be the same for both of them. A and B are the same. This one is the one that's supposed to have the square root of 2 inside. Okay. So technically what happens is that square root of 2 ended up making a whole number. So here is what you do, okay? And again, I'm not showing you the math. I'm just going to get you the answer the quickest way. You're going to half the 8 and then put the square root of 2 with it, okay? Now, that doesn't work out just because this is a 2. You take half that number and stick it there. That's not the mathematical reason. And again, if you'd like me to show you, that's how you do it. But otherwise, just remind yourself, if you're given the hypotenuse, this is supposed to have, remember this has the x square root of 2, it's supposed to have the square root of 2 in it, and it doesn't. So this doesn't have the square root of 2, you half that number, and then just bring the square root of 2 with it. That will get you the answer. It doesn't get you how you did it, but with the ACT, that would also work too. All right, number 5, this is going to be the same thing we did. This is a 30, 60, 90. Hopefully you can recognize these. First off, the shape of them should tell you. Okay, this is isosceles, this is not. The 30, 60, 90. So I would recommend, especially if they're not already A and B, I'd recommend go ahead and putting the actual pattern into the triangle. So this one right here, opposite the 30, that's the one we need. We need this one. We need that to be the x. Okay. The side opposite the 60 is going to be x square roots of 3. The side opposite the 90 is going to be 2 times x. Okay, so all I did was write the x opposite the 30. I wrote the square root of 3 opposite the 60. And then I wrote the 2x opposite the 90. So I put these right here with those. The reason I did that is so now I can see I'm only given the opposite 61, but hopefully I can see what that is. Hopefully you can see what x is equal to. And then as soon as you know what x is, it's a lot easier. So if this is 7, guess what x is? 7, because they're both times using a radical 3. So I don't need this one. It's done. They told me that answer. But I do need the x. I just found out x is 7. Well, if x is 7, so is a, right? So if x equals 7, a will then be 7. Now, if I know what x is, which is 7, and I know that b is equal to 2 times 7, I now know that the b is 14. Okay, I know this is a little bit weird. It's a pattern, okay? And I'm trying to do the best I can with you all because usually I kind of talk through it. I mean, I have kind of participation. It makes it a little easier. And then you all help each other out. So please, if you know someone's struggling, help them out. Some people do not see patterns, as I have found out with my son when we try to do T-charts and try to recognize patterns. He does not see a pattern at all. Makes life harder, by the way. All right. So number 6, is it a 45, 45, 90 or a 30, 60, 90? Hopefully you said 45, 45, 90 because you see the 45, 45, and the 90. So that means I'm looking at this right here. Sorry, I got to move my books around. Right here. So that means that these two sides are the same, which is these two sides, right? because remember opposite the 45, so this is 3 square root of 2. I know this one is going to be 3 square root of 2, so I already know half the answer. Here's where a lot of people get confused, and it's not hard because you have a Desmos calculator, that the side opposite the 45 is going to be the side that has the x and then the square root of 2. Now, if x is 3 square roots of 2, that doesn't mean this square root of 2 just disappears, right? That means this x is x square root of 2, and then this one will now come down in its place. You can type it in the calculator. It is going to tell you the answer. Okay, the calculator will help you. So 3 square roots of 2, 3 square roots of 2 times the square root of 2. If you do not know, that is going to be 3 times 2, which equals 6. Okay, so this answer is 6. Now, I can show you if you want. I can put that in my calculator, but you don't have my calculator. So if you haven't grabbed your Desmos already, type 3 square root of 2 times square root of 2. Pretty sure if you just type them together like that, you'll still get 6. So you don't even have to put them. All right, and number 7 is just because I've seen that it's on your forms. Google Forms has this one. This is just thrown in, okay, for you to recognize what type of triangle it is. That is not a 45, 45, 90. That is not a 30, 60, 90. You don't even see a 90. So this is not a special right triangle. Okay, so when you see that on your Google Forms, don't let it throw you off. It is going to be a equilateral triangle. So if this side will be equal to this side, which will be equal to this side, and since this side is 3 square roots of 2, square roots of 3, all 3 sides will be 3 square roots of 3. So whatever one side is, all 3 are the same. So what it's doing is just making sure you're paying attention. Don't just assume they're all special right triangles. Kind of look. There'll be one on that Google Forms that's not. Okay, so look for that one. All right, so I told you I'd do a couple more. I do want to do one more, and I know this is a lengthy video, but believe me, this is a lengthy topic. The first thing I want to go back over is you can change the orientation of your triangle. So the shorter side, by the way, should always be your x, and I'm going to be doing the 30, 60, 90. Notice all I wrote was the 30. So this side will be your x, this side will be your x square root of 3, and this side will always be 2 times whatever x is. Again, you always have to go back to the x. You're not going to hop from the 60 over to the 91. All right, so let's go ahead and look at another example. I'm just going to give you a number. Let's say this side opposite the 30 is 5. Yeah, my triangle's really stinky, sorry. So opposite the 30 is 5. That makes opposite the 90 twice that. So without writing all the extra stuff, because I already showed you the extra stuff, the algebra part, maybe this will be a little easier if you just think it through. So remember, opposite the 90 is twice that, and that says that right there. So that makes that 10. And then we go back to here, so go back to the 5, and now you're going to go this way. So if this is x square root of 3. So if this is 5, this is 5 square root of 3. And that's it. All right, now I'm going to go a little faster. I'm going to do a couple of them. Hopefully they'll be a little bit easier on you. I caught the pattern right here. So let's look. What if I have 6? What if I have 8? All right, so here's the pattern. If they give you the side opposite of the 30, 6, you would double it for the hypotenuse, and then you're just going to write 6 thirds of 3 for the opposite of the 60. Again, here it is, 8. That's opposite the 30. Hypotenuse is double. The side opposite the 60 will be the same number with the square root of 3 added to the end of it. That's it. Okay, let's do one. Well, not one, but 2 more with just the same idea. But this time, instead of giving you opposite the 30, I'm going to go ahead and give you opposite the 60. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and give you opposite the 90. All right, not giving you any letters, okay, because I really want you to ignore the letters. The letters make it a little confusing. So opposite the 30 is, again, what you need. So if they gave me opposite the 60, what would the 30 have to be? So remember, opposite the 60 is x squared root of 3, but I just want the x. So x squared root of 3, but I want the x, so that means this side would be 12. And then remember, the hypotenuse is always double the shortest side, which would be 24. I'm hoping this helps. Right, so now what if I gave you the longest side? What if I gave you the hypotenuse? Could you get me back to this? Well, I decided not to work. Thank goodness I got several of them. All right, so again, we know this one is twice whatever x is. And if you don't know what that is, you would divide it by 2 in the calculator. So this side would be 9. And now that you know the shorter side, you're going to bring that on around, whatever that number is, and you're going to do 9 square roots of 3. Whatever that number is just goes right there. All right, so the 3069 is a little harder than the 4590, but please don't hesitate to ask me questions. If you're having trouble with a certain one, shoot me a message, say, hey, number 6 on the Google Forms. Help me out with that one, and I can actually do that particular problem and then send it back to you. All right, hopefully this helps.